Sound bites. This gonna sound crazy, but I'll explain it later. I don't give a fuck who the president is.
Facts.
And truth is, I'm tired. I'm just tired.
Dead ass. 1, 2, 3. It all started with real talk, unfiltered, honest, and straight from the heart. Since then, we've gone on to become Webby Award-winning podcasters and New York Times best-selling authors.
Deadass was more than a podcast for us. It was about our growth. A place where we could be vulnerable, be raw.
Pause. But most importantly, be us.
But as we know, life keeps evolving, and so do we. And through it all, one thing has never changed.
This is Ellis Ever After. Dead ass.
Because we got a lot to talk about.
All right,
story time.
Story time. Here's the funny part, right? Everybody knows Tribble. And on story time, because Tribble is our producer, she creates the whole thing. And for the Runner Show, she ain't even put a story time. That's how tired niggas is. Because we tired.
Right.
Like we really, really tired. Okay? So I'm going to tell you a story about fatigue. Right?
Tell me.
And I'm not even going to take you back to a specific time. I'm going to take you back to what I had to live through in my life. All right? I was born in 1984.
Uh-huh.
The president
I'm 83.
was Ronald Reagan.
Yes.
So I was born into Reaganomics.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I lived through both Bushes.
Mm-hmm.
Trump, one term,
Mm-hmm.
and now Trump, another term.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly feel like there's nothing that I haven't seen in these 40 years. I lived through stop and frisk, mass incarceration, 9/11, the pandemic, like
all the things.
All the things. And every time
like a blur.
Something came up, I thought it was doomsday.
Yeah.
The older I get now, I realize that they don't have the control, we have it.
That's a fact.
So that's my story.
Every other day, I'm like, Jesus is coming for 40 years. I'm like,
Jesus
let me
been
get prepared.
coming.
Let me get prepared. So,
Facts.
Here we are.
About 10, 11 days
So
you get to be gone.
I'm on tour like Beyonce.
This is your stuff you taking?
Well, no, I'm trying to unpack the stuff from Mexico. So that's dirty. That's your stuff. They got all the sand in it. That's why the suitcase was almost over.
See, I was going to give her a pass. She keeps saying, I put the sand in the suitcase. Only one of us was on the beach.
That's not true. Why do you keep... Why? Don't do that.
Kadeem.
You came and sat with me and had a drink on the last day.
Was I rolling around in the sand and didn't know?
You don't have to be. Anybody who knows that sand, it doesn't work like that. You can barely touch sand and it's going to be all over you.
I legitimately...
And we had the dinner on the beach. In the sand. You forgot about that part, right? Rehearsal dinner.
Was you sitting on the floor in the sand?
Dinner.
Or was you sitting in a chair like the rest of us?
I was sitting in the chair too.
So, if you were sitting in a chair... Where did all the sand that you speak of come from?
The sand, when you know how it is when sand touches you.
No, I don't. I don't know what you're talking about.
Conversation done, because you acting like you don't know what I'm talking about.
No, you like to blame stuff on people.
Anyway,
but you was the only one sitting on the... No. You was the only one sitting on the beach tanning for hours for multiple days. But all the sand comes from me? That sounds a little fishy to me.
The suitcase has two sides.
Sounds a little fishy to me.
All your clothes had sand in it. My side had no sand. You probably didn't even dust anything out before you folded it and put it back in the suitcase.
So
but it's all good.
My side of the suitcase had no sand.
Your side of the suitcase had
my
sand.
side of the suitcase had sand.
Absolutely.
Your side had no sand.
Nope.
This suitcase was in a plane. It's been flipped around on a belt.
Absolutely.
But all the sand just stayed on one. All the sand stayed on one side.
Zips closed on one side. Come show them how the suitcase zips. Okay.
People,
so this suitcase.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about my wife.
Okay.
All right. My wife likes to blame people
for
things. She loves to blame people for things. Takes no accountability. No accountability. All right.
Goodbye.
I'm not even gonna torture y'all with this foolishness. Karaoke. Okay. You started in the sound bites.
I was like, we've used this song before, but I think it's just very appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Truth is,
I'm tired. Options are few.
Right. They're actually few.
It's bad.
I mean, at this point, what can we control? I feel like is my biggest thing.
You know y'all tired because y'all just stopped singing karaoke completely.
Well, I have another part of karaoke though, Matt. I do have another part of karaoke. And it's a song that we sang before.
What's that?
From my man, Tupac.
Uh-huh.
Ding, 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 You remember this song?
This is Roey's favorite song.
This is Roey's favorite song, bro.
Yeah.
You remember?
Changes.
Changes. So I see no changes. Wake up in the morning and I ask myself, is life worth living? Should I blast myself?
We're not gonna do
I'm
that.
tired of being poor and even worse, I'm black. My stomach hurts, so I'm looking for a purse to snatch. It is 2025 and people still feel the same exact way. That song was written in the 90s by Tupac Shakur. And there are a lot of young people, not just men and women, who feel the same exact way. Because we're headed towards another recession. So we're going to take a quick break.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to bring some light and levity to this topic.
Yeah, we don't want it to be all heavy and hard and policy driven because that is going to be what it's going to be.
Yes.
But at least we have some solidarity together. We can vent and we can just talk about how this all feels.
And here's the truth, though, because I've been watching a lot of television.
Mm-hmm.
Black people ain't the only people trying to survive in this administration.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be Cheetos Walkway goes in. Make sure you get my good side.
Say hi to Patreon.
Hi, Patreon.
Yes.
Look at Floss Day. Let the Knick fan distract us.
They haven't been to the playoffs since Ewing. What's the picture? I was saying
That's just the one thing my boys want. Just want to meet Steph Curry.
It's the game.
Yeah.
It's the mahogany?
It's oak. It's the oak.
Don't disrespect me. It's oak.
You knocked my hand on the ground. Fuck.
It's that's all coming to the house now. You want everything all right?
All right. We are back. And before we get into the meat holes of the show, we can go to my favorite segment of the show with my homegirl, Tribble.
Tribs.
Yo, it is
Op or
time.
no op, baby.
Time for op or no op.
Op or no op? I'm interested. What you got for me today?
What's happening?
So, these are mostly politically geared.
Okay, makes sense.
Just a little bit.
On brand.
Because the United States is getting a bad rap all over the world right now.
Yeah, no shit.
And if it wasn't bad enough,
right.
A French lawmaker recently said that he wants the U.S. to give back the Statue of Liberty. And I wanted to hear y'all's op or no op on this since you're New Yorkers. You grew up with the girl. You know the girl.
That's the big sis. What do you mean? That's big sis. I definitely went up to her crown, one day.
I did.
That was in like
elementary
second
school.
grade.
Second grade, I went with Bethlehem. That was the second school trip. Bethlehem
school trip.
Shout out. Now Trey Whitfield School.
Yes.
So before you answer this, though, I wanted to share with you some history I learned about the Statue of Liberty recently.
Okay.
So the Statue of Liberty is supposed to commemorate the end of slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, the Lady Liberty is supposed to be a black woman who is broken free of her chains.
Mm-hmm.
However, Americans, whoever was in charge at that point, they did not want to depict a slave in the Statue of Liberty. So the French dude who made it, he delivered the statue without the chains.
Yep.
But if you go to the Statue of Liberty, you can actually see the broken chains at her feet. They're still there, but they're not visible from the sky. Yeah.
Right.
So, having said that, what is your op or no op on the Statue of Liberty being given back to France?
Her features aren't given, sister.
At all. Because they didn't want to depict that.
Where's the full lips and the nose? Like, I want to see a sister. So maybe they should send her back and fix her and bring her back.
Well, if we being honest, I'm just wondering if France is going to, if they want stuff back, are they going to give Haiti back reparations for all the stuff they did to the Haitian people? That's just really, if we're going to start to hold people accountable, let's really hold people accountable. Because France has been exploiting Haiti since the Haitian Revolution, the actual first slave revolution against the French people. So if we're going to, talk about reality, France, I appreciate you saying that, United States needs to do better, but United States is not the only country that needs to do better.
And that's on
be real. That's my opinion on that. So,
and Haiti is one of a couple Caribbean islands that I know have been under their rule. They've had their thumb on a whole
the Haitian people.
Of
yes,
Caribbean islands.
Talk about it.
Martinique,
talk about it.
All of them.
Talk about
There's
it,
a whole lot of them.
Talk about it, Kay.
So, if we're going to be pulling straws here, you know what I'm saying? Let's go all the way with it.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think France is probably one of the worst perpetrators of colonialism. So yeah, I feel like maybe deal with that.
I wonder if people know that.
Yeah.
That after the slaves freed themselves in Haiti, The French government told them, you know what, we'll give you your freedom, but you're gonna have to pay us for all of the freed slaves y'all had. So the Haitian government has been paying France for freeing the slave, which is the most asinine thing. But let's be honest, that happened here in America too.
Yeah.
We never got reparations as a people, but you know who did get reparations? Sharecroppers. They were given the equivalent of, during that time, it was $2,500 per slave that they let free, right? And the slaves were given nothing, but the sharecroppers were given money by the American government for releasing people as property. So I just want to be clear as to why we believe what we believe. And these are not opinions. These are facts. You can look it up. Imagine what $2,500 per person would have done for the Black community in that time. If you gave every slave, not just 40 acres and a mule, which was promised before it was taken away after the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, but give them $2,500 in that time, in 1863. Imagine what $2,500 would have done.
$1,200 people got during COVID, was it? The stimulus checks?
Yeah.
Everybody was fighting over?
Because the modern mortgage system is based off of slavery. So that's where it comes from. Slaves, enslaved people were kind of assigned an amount that they were worth. And if you were a slave owner, you could basically like take out a second mortgage on a person. But if you think about it today, if you default on your mortgage and the bank takes your house, you don't get the money that you paid back.
Sure don't.
You don't.
You don't get anything back.
You don't.
Sure don't.
The bank gets it. So
sad.
if as an enslaved person you were freed, the slave owner no longer owns you, you own yourself, you should get the money you're worth.
Hello.
It seemed like common sense, don't it?
Yeah.
Nah.
Never happened, huh?
Like if friends come over here, they're gonna have to deal with a bunch of niggas that like going to the Statue of Liberty. Be like, y'all have to take it from us. You have to take it from us.
It's getting really, well, it's been concerning for Black people. I don't know that this moment in time is worse, but they did just rip up the Black Lives Matter street mural in DC.
I saw
Op or
that.
no op on that.
It was time. It was dirty. You need to. If they're gonna redo it, redo it. If
You
you're
know,
gonna get
'cause
rid
you've
of it,
been in
get rid of
DC.
it. But it's time.
Yeah,
That's
I
right,
don't,
you
I
have
don't think
been
I've
in
ever
DC.
physically
Yeah.
seen it either.
They're
I've
not
never
gonna
seen
redo it though.
They're not.
They're just pulling it up
It
for
was-
the sake of pulling
It
it
was
up.
time though.
You think so?
Yeah.
My opinion is it was show.
Yes.
In the first place.
I agree.
It didn't mean anything.
I agree.
Taking up something that benefited us, like it didn't benefit us monetarily, it didn't
At
put us
all.
in any positions of power or anything like it was just a show.
It was
So
something
y'all want to
yeah.
take your show back. Take your show
Very
back.
performance.
I agree.
Mean nothing.
Performance
Yeah,
based.
performative.
It's very
yeah, it's
performative.
performative stuff.
I feel like
yeah.
more than anything else, BLM put a target on people's back. So, no.
That is true. It did put a target
I
on a
would say
lot of people's
unintentionally
back.
though.
Correct. Unintentionally.
Unintentionally.
I think there were two things. There was the movement, and then there was the capitalist side of it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people ran with the capitalist sides of it, made it seem like BLM was a bad thing, when realistically it wasn't.
Mhm.
And the fact that you have to put Black Lives Matter on the street for people to understand that is problematic.
Well, think about writing the book. Like when you wrote the book, that was essentially our like a history lesson
Yeah.
that we wrote for the boys, or
That
you
listens
wrote
in
for
the
the
time
boys
machine.
that listens
Yeah.
to the time machine. Yeah.
The question was,
the tagline is, why do we have to say Black Lives Matter? And that was because that was a legitimate question that Jackson asked us at
Yeah.
the time.
yeah.
So it wasn't us trying to like capitalize on
Nah,
Black Lives Matters movement. It was
wasn't.
just a genuine question that our at the time 9-year-old asked us.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, well, let's try to explain to you
Yeah.
some of the history, the actual real Black history
Facts.
around why we have to say it, because people don't recognize it.
I agree with Josh, man. It was performative. I think that America does a good job of doing performative-based things to make us feel comfortable, while on the back end, rolling back the things that are really supposed to help us.
All
For
the
example, they
systemic
made
stuff.
this big deal about pulling down Confederate statues and shit while rolling back DEI like programs. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, let's perform this so they can cheer while
Right.
we do this.
It's
So I
lulling
mean,
us to sleep.
if they get rid of the BLM thing, what I think is going to do is let Black people realize, like, yo, they not fucking with us like that. Because I think a lot of us went to sleep. We fell asleep. If you notice, during all of the administrations I talked about, Reagan administration, Bush administration, Trump administration, Black people got stronger because the racism went from covert to overt.
Mm-hmm.
And when it goes from covert to overt, that's when we mobilize.
Mm-hmm.
But when we have other figures in there who really don't fuck with us neither, like if we being honest, bro, a lot of people don't know this, but Joe Biden never fucked with us like that, man. Joe Biden wrote the 94 crime bill. He called us super predators, right? He's a Democrat. The Democratic Party is no longer what we thought it was going to be, which is going to be the party of black people. The Democratic Party just became a shit show. You know what I'm saying? And we lost the election because we didn't really have a viable. If we being honest,
They got
bro,
bigger problems than black people.
that's the Democratic Party has a huge problem, and it's not black people, which means they're not gonna focus on us.
Yes.
Which means we
100%.
have to focus on us.
100%.
And the Black Lives Matter being removed is gonna make us focus. That's what I think.
Hopefully.
The more racist they get, the more focus we get.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, we've been pulling back our dollars in certain areas and we're seeing the benefits.
Facts.
We need more impactful protests instead of just words on the street or in the
Well-
back of the end zone. Because I don't think that really helps, if I'm being honest.
Also, we don't gotta say stuff all the time. Like, remember the Underground Railroad was the Underground Railroad for a reason. If Harriet Tubman would have got up there as Sojourner Truth and would have been like, nah, Black Lives Matter, we all leaving at this time, it would have never happened. We have to be just as covert. And when I mean covert, we don't have to be covert racist against them. We can be covert in our development for our own people. And it don't start with a statue or with words.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's build together. And we can build without having to push other people down. We just build ourselves. That's how I feel about it. So they get rid of it, they get rid of it. I don't care.
Yeah, I think you just made me realize something though, because during Joe Biden's presidency, I guess the last couple of years, there was a big movement for Confederate symbols to be taken down all over the United States. And I feel like that's where this is coming from. It's like backlash to what white people consider, Southern white people, racist white people consider their culture and their right. And now they're trying to get back. And the Black Lives Matter movement, I feel like, did really create a lot of the backlash that we're seeing right now from especially conservative white people who just don't believe that racism is a thing in America, or that they have the right to, or that they really feel a sense of supremacy over anybody that's not a white man.
And we can thank Mildred Rutherford for that. All of these books over all of these years telling us.
Where's Mildred at? Tell her pull up.
Mildred finished.
Listen, we
I
hear
hope
about
she's
This
not
Mildred a lot
organization
lately.
still exists.
Yes, the UDC, the United Daughters of the Confederacy, still exists.
Wow.
And it's because of that education or miseducation is why these emboldened white nationalists feel they can do the things that they do.
Yeah.
So,
Sidebar, y'all ever met a baby named Mildred?
No.
We only meet a Mildred when she old. Just sent me thinking.
Mildred does sound like something a Jamaican baby would be named.
I have
though.
an aunt, Mildred.
Mildred.
My grandmother's sister was Mildred, Doris, Thelma. Yeah, but you never met them as a
Damn.
baby.
All
Them
Mildreds
names.
are born at 50 years old.
Yeah.
Barbara, Thelma.
Yeah, Della.
Della.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Sorry,
then-
Mom, but Edna's one of them.
Edna is one of them. That's an old
Absolutely.
name.
Absolutely. I'm
I've
just
never
like,
seen a young
yeah.
Edna in my life.
And those are names that haven't come back. Like some names come back. I haven't seen not a baby named Doris.
I think the Joshua name is dying. I don't see no little kids
Oh,
named
there's
Josh
no
either.
Joshua's.
No.
We know Matt Ellis is not dying.
There's a lot of Matt Ellises. DeVal never lived for it to die. I'm the only person I know with my name other than my pops.
Right. And
So-
a baby named after you.
I do have one baby.
And
named
there's,
after
there's a
me.
baby named Khadeen in Trinidad.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I have yet to be here yet. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. Come on, baby. We do.
Yeah.
I've been telling people my name is Kadeem.
I love that for you.
I believe you.
I love that.
We believe you.
Why, Tribble? You got a great name, bro. BBL Tribble is
BBL.
is like, that's not going anywhere.
It's
yo.
not common. I feel like there's been an influx of Kairos since our Cairo. I feel like I see a Cairo everywhere now. My baby named Cairo.
I have seen a lot of
An
Kairos.
influx of Kairos.
You know
after
what you're not
our
going to
Cairo.
see a lot of?
What?
But we grew up seeing Shaniquas and Keishas. When we was growing up, there was a lot of Keishas, Aisha, Letitia,
And
Denishas.
I'm partly mad at that. I actually like those names.
Because you grew up with it.
No, I like those names for the symbolism it is. Like, we don't have our own names. Like, you go to Nigeria, you got a Olu, you got a
I see what you mean.
Tolu, you got all these. So that's on their side. For Black
You're right.
Americans, we
You're
had
right.
the Shanikas, the
You're right.
Tanishas, and all
Yeah,
that.
you're right.
Although
True.
some of those names came off as like ghetto names, like Boom Quisha and all that. It was like sort of ghetto names.
Yeah.
The reality is those were the Black American culture names. And for what it's
That's
worth,
just-
Fact. That is a
enjoy having-
fact. That is a fact.
Equals
Yeah,
the
I enjoyed having our own.
I went to elementary school with a kid named Euquavis, and he was a bully, and he was kind of chubby. So I used to call him Euquavis because that sound fat.
You was a bully.
Facts.
You was a bully. All
Trevor
right?
was indeed the bully.
See how she turned that story around? This kid was a bully. I used to make fun of him because he was fat. Wait a minute.
Flavors was mean, bro.
He deserved it, I'm sure.
probably
Well, he
mean
bullied
because
first.
he had that name.
And people
And
said
people
stuff
pick
to
fun,
him.
yeah.
Like Tribble. The Quavian. So fat ass out of here.
Sounds like something out of
He's like,
Norbit.
I hate Trevor.
Sorry, I took us all the way off topic, y'all.
No, no, it's fine. It's fine. Thinking about politics.
Mildreds.
Thinking about politics and being black in America. I forgot who said it, but being black and conscious in America is being in a constant state of anger. I forgot who said it. I think it was Dick
That
Gregory.
was no, it was
We're gonna find
James
it.
Baldwin.
It was James Baldwin.
James
that's
Baldwin.
right.
And this
Yes,
year
James
is
Baldwin.
his centennial. We share a birthday. August 2nd is his 100th birthday. So
Wow.
if you don't know who James Baldwin is,
Yeah.
go find out.
Yeah.
That statement
Mhm.
means so much though.
Yeah.
Because even as I continue to ascend in life, well, we all see that. You find yourself in spaces that are less black.
Mhm.
And they always ask that question. Wait, you got so angry? Fucking hate that question, bro. It's like the minute we get cool and we sit down and they start to realize like the valve is relaxing a little bit, I always get that question.
Really?
You know what? Let me ask you a question. This out. Let me ask you a question. You know, because I got a ton of black friends, and I always want to know. You know, like, why? So, you know, like, so tight, he's angry. He's angry, and I'll be like,
Oh.
because y'all know me. Y'all know me.
Yeah.
I said,
When
this,
Deval leans forward.
Well,
this is how it always goes. I said, well, where do you want me to start?
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, at the end of the conversation, I realize how so many white people do not know American history,
Mm-hmm.
like at all. And then when I explain to them American history, that's when they're just like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
white people don't know about redlining, black codes, the Vagrancy Act. They don't know about this stuff because it's not taught.
And it's never affected them.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when I start bringing those things, they say this, that was really going on?
Mm-hmm.
Was really going, it's
Yeah.
still going on.
We're still feeling the effects of
Voter
it.
suppression still goes on today. Like today. And they're just like, wow, it's not fair.
Yeah.
I'm like, no shit.
There's a really great the last season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. There's a running storyline where Larry David is in Atlanta and he sees somebody he knows voting, and so he gives her a bottle of water. Apparently, it is illegal to have water if you're waiting in line to vote in Georgia.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I saw that.
Yes, it
episode.
is.
That joint's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yes.
And so he has to go through this whole court process because he gets arrested and he's getting charged with a crime.
When did that come out?
This year, 2024.
No, when the episode came out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
last year.
That's
Oh, I say, because you know that happened here in Georgia
Yeah.
during the election. People were handing out food and water to people who were online and getting in trouble.
Yeah.
oh wow.
Swear.
Yeah.
Like it just seemed
they
like
want to make it an uncomfortable situation for everybody.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We don't want to wait on
To
these
discourage
lines.
you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of
exactly.
course.
So,
And it's funny when you mention when your white counterparts, ask these questions. Because Sterling K. Brown, I was just watching a clip from his podcast with his wife. I think it's called
We don't always
we don't
agree.
always
Shout out
always
to
agree.
Sterling and Ryan.
Yeah, we don't always
Yeah.
agree. And he was talking about his experience on set where he had a white counterpart that must have been reacting in
Had a
way
tantrum.
that
Had a tantrum.
was reacting, was angry about something, and he said he kind of, peeked out and was just like, and he was just like, man, if I
Well, remember
would've-
what he said they coded it as? They
Well,
coded it as
yeah.
passionate.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Like, he was passionate in his anger.
Right,
and-
exactly. But then, of course, he said, if I were to perform in the same way and be as passionate, it would not be received the same way.
Be
And it's just
angry.
like, it doesn't matter where or what avenue, what job, what realm you're in, it's always going to be seen as the disgruntled Black person.
So let me ask y'all a question. Right. Well, do you have one more for us or?
Yeah.
Let me-
Okay,
let me-
sure.
let me-
Let's do one more and we'll go back
Topic,
into-
even though we're
Yeah.
kind of already on the topic.
We're in the
But
topic, yeah.
I have been watching social media a lot around this topic because I am one to say Black people should be politically involved and politically aware. We
Mhm.
cannot afford to be apolitical because we are affected the most
I
when
agree.
things change. But I did see a post on Threads that was like, why y'all not marching? and it said us, we are. And it's a video of a bunch of black people doing the line dance. Where them fans at? That's why I wrote my fan today. Because I just learned it.
Come on now.
And
I need
there's
a
2 new
lesson.
line dances out.
Yeah,
Yes.
And I
There's a
know that
boots
some
one.
people are behind learning your Tamia dance, and you need to get on your Zoom, honey.
Get on the Tamia dance because they've moved on.
Yes, they've moved on.
They've
So why
moved
should
on.
they
Be
get
left
on it now if they
behind.
moved on?
Because you have to bank that one the same way you have the electric slide, the cha-cha slide, the wobble, all of those, Cupid shuffle. You got to bank Tamia now to learn the next 2.
Just had a
And they're
stroke
playing
trying
them
to
in
think about that.
succession.
Welcome to
They're
my wedding
playing them
career.
in succession.
In succession now.
They're
So
playing
it's a
them in
marathon of
succession.
line dancing, y'all.
Yeah, it is.
Won't be in none of them.
Get on your
You
get on
make
your
me
Zoom.
Get on the good foot.
happy.
Especially if you're going to be at Cowboy Carter this summer. I think you need to know the boots on the ground and
Period.
the country girls.
What's the
Period.
op no op?
I would like to know, what do you think about that? Like black people putting their joy or using their joy as resistance. A lot of black people, I
Finally.
think, are saying
Yes.
after the
Finally.
my point was during the election, after the election, black people felt kind of betrayed. A black woman ran for president and they literally elected a fascist.
Let me ask
somebody
you a question.
who
Did
wants to
she-
be a dictator.
Did she really run for president? Or was she? Because to me, I think that this was fucked up what they did to her, to be honest. Because if she was really going to be allowed to run for president, they would have given her the nod before
Right.
at the Democratic convention. So she would have had the runway
Like
to actually
the adequate
speak on
runway,
policy
yes.
and do things. They came in the last minute because the white man that they thought was going to be able to last for the last 4 years started to slowly lose his mind.
And now the narrative that they're putting out there is that he was pushed out of running, that they forced him out of running for president so that she could run, and not
they?
that they forced her into running.
Who's they? They say
Whoever the powers that be.
And let's really think about this for a
Now,
second.
sir.
At what moment in world history did anyone ever say, you know what, we're gonna get rid of this white man and bring this black woman in? That's
Right.
not. Come
Ever.
on. This is why black people
Ever.
choosing joy. That don't even sound like something I'm gonna debate about. Not gonna debate about it.
Yeah.
You know why?
Like I'm not. Like there's no way.
But
Yeah.
my opinion is yes. If that's where you find your joy, if your joy is not debating over the water cooler about nonsense in politics because you
Son.
want to preserve your joy, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow brothers and sisters,
I feel
don't do
you.
that shit.
I feel you.
Find your joy within your community of people, your
I
circle
agree.
of friends, your line dances. If it's Cowboy Carter tour, I'll see you there. If it means
How we
you
got to
gotta
the cowboy. You see, I knew it was gonna come back to this. Find your joy. I
mean,
knew it. I knew it.
Find your joy where it exists. Find your pockets. Find
I
your
agree with that.
tribe of people.
I agree with that. And
Control
build.
what you can control.
Nation build within your people. I agree with that.
Yeah. Let's get back to like gathering and having functions and
Let's-
caring for each other.
Let me ask y'all a question, guys, because I be struggling with stuff.
Mhm.
I do not blame current white Americans for where we are in America. I don't. The reason why is because I feel like the racism we experience now, although there are some overt racists who still call you a nigga, right? But those people are still few and far in between. Most of the racism we see as millennials and yeah, we're all millennials, is the systemic racism that people don't understand. And that's where I think we have to do a better job as people of color, all of us being black, of explaining that to some of our white counterparts rather than just saying, oh, everybody racist. I honestly don't feel that everybody is racist. I do feel that people are misinformed and uneducated. And rather than argue with them about their racism, just explain to them history.
Uneducated and miseducated.
Yes, and more miseducated than uneducated.
anything else.
Because I just saw a meme, and it wasn't really a meme, it was more facts. Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma, right? Red state, overwhelmingly red state. When it comes to education, literacy, wealth, they're all bottom 3 in America, right? And there's a reason why. If you keep people miseducated and uneducated, it's easy to do what? Control them.
Misinform them,
Control
yeah.
them, yep.
But then you go to a
Influence
place like
them.
New Hampshire, right? And Maine, top 2 in everything, but also education. And they're both blue states. So our issue now isn't we're fighting against white people who just hate black people. We're fighting against people who are really miseducated and uneducated. And here's the truth. It ain't only white people. Because there are a lot of miseducated and uneducated black people. And I watched it in this election cycle, I watch people our age who look just like us say things and do things that I'm like, yo, you have no idea what you're talking about. And those are the people who voted for Trump. Because overwhelmingly, outside of what people think like, oh, we were split on voting for Trump, black people. We were not split. The overwhelming majority of black people voted for Kamala. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the people who didn't vote for Kamala and voted for Trump
didn't vote at all.
Or didn't vote at all, voted because they weren't informed about everything that was going to affect us. And now we see people, not only black people, white people upset. I watched on the news, the firefighters from 9/11 and the police officers from 9/11 are pissed. All white, Italian, Irish, German men, right, who mostly voted for Trump, are pissed now because the Trump administration voted to get rid of Medicare and Medicaid for survivors of 9/11.
Wow.
So now they all pissed. And I'm just like, hey guys, if you were educated on what you were talking about, you would have voted for someone who wouldn't take your liberties away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I no longer blame like our contemporaries of white people for the state of white America. It goes way deeper than that. And I just want to know what y'all think about that. Because I don't look at the white person across me and be like, you just racist, your parents had slaves. I don't look at it like that.
I think there's a couple people, well, from what I've observed from a distance, people who I've done business with in the past or former clients when I was a makeup artist, and some of them have voted openly and will say that they voted for Trump. And I know that one in particular was very much in favor of Trump because Trump was now going to go back to there being only two genders.
That was the only reason why they voted for Trump?
And she was like, I'm raising children now. I think she had like 3 or 4 kids. And she's like, and that was her biggest arguing point. Like she wants to be in a world where her daughter can go to the bathroom and not have to worry about other people being in there.
But she can't right now. Whether there's 2 genders or not, as long as there's a man on the planet, you can't go send your daughter to the bathroom without having to worry about her.
So then she's the same person now crying.
You see what I'm saying?
But that's true.
It's the truth though.
But you see what I'm saying about
and it's
how
just like
misinformed
the
people are?
one thing that she kept harping on, but then now she's the same person crying because her mom was let go from her job because of DEI.
Oh, I know who you talk. I'm not gonna say the name.
Because of DEI rollbacks. A white woman who was in her job, you know, and now she doesn't have a job anymore. And then it's like, now you want to be upset about that. So what exactly are these people who voted for him? Like, what was your driving force? That's what I really want to understand.
Let me tell you, because me and Matt talked about it. We sitting here watching NBA games and a commercial comes on. And it says Trump. No, it says Kamala. She is for they, them. Trump is for you. It's fear mongering.
Yeah.
And it used to come on every 7 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
And me and Matt used to be laughing. Like, look at this. Like it's like how
crazy
is this
liberal
the world we live in
crazy
now?
liberal Kamala's for Kamala, something like that. And
crazy liberal Kamala.
Trump is for you. That's what around there. Yeah.
And I was like, but that's fear mongering.
And it works.
When did the president control genders?
Right.
That's
like
the
at
point,
what point of history did anybody think that Trump or Biden can set genders in place? How is that the point that how is that the hill you're dying on?
And if you believe that, you know, you can only be born as male or female and you can't change it, then why would you think the president can change it?
That is a good point.
That's why I'm
no
like,
critical thinking
people
skills
that
whatsoever.
are not considering everything. Like they hold on to one point that they feel like is in favor of what they believe. And then also it's also when you vote thinking it's not going to affect you and your people.
Yeah, like I'm okay stripping away somebody else's liberty to choose how they want to dress, if they want to wear a wig or not. But it's not going to affect me. So
until that boomerang comes back.
It's also the lies. I had a dude tell me he only votes for Trump. He's a black dude. Said he only voted for Trump because he's a very successful businessman. And he was just like, and here's what he said to me. He's like, man, Trump started from nothing and he's now worth like $1 billion. And I said, who started from nothing? I said, did you miss the whole clip about him being clown saying that I started from the bottom? My father gave me a small $1 million loan. Did you forget about that? And he was just like, I didn't. I said, that's the point. You didn't hear. You didn't try to look for it.
You didn't
do no research. I said, you know how many times Trump went bankrupt?
Yeah.
He's like, Trump's been bankrupt?
Are you kidding me?
But that's my point though, right? Like I start to have empathy for people. And I may be wrong and people are gonna be upset at me, but I have empathy for racists. I have empathy for racists. And the reason why I have empathy for racists is because if my mom or dad told me that I had to hate certain people from the beginning of my life, and I just thought that that's how it was, and then I went to church and those same Christians, those nationalists telling me we gotta hate these people, how can you then blame that person who was indoctrinated this way, right? I have empathy for them. And if they ask me that question, like why I'm so angry, I do take my time. So when we, the whole purpose of this podcast was like surviving Trump's America, right? You know how I'm surviving Trump's America? Number one, like you both said, I'm going to choose joy first. Why are we not marching? Because I'm tired of marching, right? I'm going to dance and sing and enjoy my blackness. But also, if I have a chance to try to educate somebody, whether they be black, white, Asian, Indian, Latino, Latinx, I am going to educate them on the history of race relations in this country. Because most people don't know because it was taken out of American history.
On a factual level.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the fact that we even have to call it Black history is a problem. Because now white people, Asian people, Indian, Latinx are gonna be like, well, that's not my history. I don't have to learn it. It is your history. Because you were brought to this continent under the same pretense. A lot of Asian people don't talk about this. Do you know why Asians were considered model minorities? Once they freed African Americans here in 1865, right? And we had Western expansion. They needed to then cultivate the land to build on it, right? We can't get Black people to build on it. So what we're gonna do, promise Asians when they come over here, they're gonna get the prosperity that white people get. And what they did was they gave Asians the opportunity to do all this other stuff and said, we're gonna do this to separate yourself from Black people. This is a fact because Asian Americans have said it over time. We were given loans and we were given red-lined business loans. Red-lined business loans mean they would give Asian Americans, Indian Americans, all the money they need to open up their businesses in Black communities, not white communities, because they wanted Asians and Indians to be able to circulate the money from Black communities and take it out the community. Because now those people and those entrepreneurs take that money to their community. But if you go to white communities, you don't see anybody but white people owning their stuff. And when you explain things like this to people, they start to, because I definitely have Asian friends too. My father came here with nothing. How come, your parents have been here? How come they haven't built? I said, well, do you understand about Seneca Village in Tulsa, Oklahoma? No, what is that? Every time Black people built something for themselves, much like you did, like Chinatown, it was burned down. So if people burn down Chinatown right now in New York, y'all still gonna say the same thing? Oh, that's what we need. We need education of history.
Yeah.
We don't need to feel sorry for ourselves, because I don't feel sorry about my Blackness, but I also am not gonna harbor no hatred towards people who are just miseducated and uneducated. I'm not gonna do that no more. Y'all got problems with me for whatever reason. Okay, y'all got that problem, but I'm not gonna have that roll around in my chest.
Is that why we have a bunch of Chinese food restaurants in the hood?
That is exactly why.
I just thought about
it.
I was like, literally, where we used to live in Crown Heights on Nostrand Avenue, there was the Chinese food restaurant and the liquor store owned by the Indian dude, and then it's like literally in succession, and it repeats every 2 blocks.
They were called
the laundromat.
They're called model minorities. Yeah. You bring minorities in to start business, and that business gets taxed, and that business goes then to the government. But you put those businesses in Black communities that was redlined. You don't give them a lot of money. You give them enough money to be able to spend money with other model minorities. And people don't understand that was a systemic plan
put in place. Yeah.
So
very, very interesting stuff.
I think it's also interesting. Now, you were talking about Asian Americans coming or Asians coming over. Something that the president did recently was use the Alien Enemies Act to deport a bunch of people, kind of illegally. So the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, it allowed the U.S. government to deport non-citizens if they were found to say something disparaging about the government, or if they thought that they were a part of some type of
pretty
group
much
that
they
didn't agree.
weaponized their color.
Yeah.
Just like Vagrancy Act.
Yeah.
If you can't read or write or own property, now you're a felon, and now we can put you in prison, and we can use convict leasing to lease that work out to people who don't have to pay you. So what they did with that was, these immigrants think that they can talk bad about our government. We can do this and deport them. But let me ask y'all a question. If we deport all the people who are here doing the work, who's going to do the work?
Who's going to do it? I just got a bill in the mail from Bill. Right,
You got a bill?
nobody. I got a bill in the mail from Bill talking about the price increase going up for our landscaping, for example, right? And then Bill just told me simultaneously last spring, it's so hard to find workers and your flowers won't be put in for maybe about 4 to 6 weeks. I'm like, spring will be over by then. Like it'll be almost fall. What do you mean?
And you gonna up the price?
And then you want to up the price too. And then who's going to do the work? Because you ain't doing it, Bill. Bill has some, Latinx
you can say he has
people.
some illegal people working
Latinx
for his
people who
company,
are
so
working
he
for his
can pay
company.
them the bare minimum.
Exactly.
Just like the government did with the Asians when they brought them over here to build the railroads for Western expansion. That is part of the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
Is to bring people over who don't look like us. We villainize them, we criminalize their existence to keep them in a small part of the country.
But we need them.
And we need them for labor.
We cannot function without their services.
So you might have heard about, I think his name is Mahmoud Khalil. He was deported recently for protesting what's happening in Gaza, Israel, at Columbia. Yeah, there's some protests going on. He was detained and deported.
And they talked about taking funding away from Columbia, right?
Yes. And Trump has been saying he'll deport students if they're pro-Palestinian. And so what followed the Alien Enemies Act was the Sedition Act of 1917, where they targeted American citizens for speaking against the government or anti-war protests.
That's when they created concentration camps here in America, correct? That was right before, because they had concentration camps here in America.
You mean tenement camps?
Tenement camps, my bad, not concentration camps. I'm sorry, which is very different, but tenement camps. That was around the same time, right? I just want to be clear.
I don't know.
Because I know during the time of Western expansion, there were tenement camps where a lot of Asian people who were not quote unquote citizens
on the West Coast.
Oh, you're talking about this was after this was like the 20s. This was during World War I. Or was it after World War II?
It was during Hiroshima.
Yeah, so that's
when it was right after Hiroshima, and it was just like the Asians were the enemy. You know how America always finds an enemy?
Internment camps.
It was black people, internment camps. It was black people, then it was Asians, then during 9/11 it was Muslims and Indian people. It's like America always finds an enemy. And they put a face on a colored person and say that's the enemy. I think that's when that happened with those camps. So now,
that was during World War II in the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
But this sedition was happening from the 1917s all through the 50s when
I didn't know
people could get arrested for being accused of being communists, for speaking out against the government, or for saying stuff like we're saying Black Lives Matter. There will come a time during this presidency where if you are talking about Black Lives Matter, that's why they're making it illegal for race-based groups to exist. There's going to be a shit show.
I mean, hasn't it been like that though? The Black Panther Party was pretty much considered a terrorist organization in the 60s and 70s because they were trying to feed their families.
But that's what we're going back to the times in the 50s, the 60s, where it was illegal to speak out against the government. Free speech is going down. And I blame Barack Obama for all of it because everybody was saying we wanted a Black president. Finally, Black people get something that we've been owed. And Barack Obama wouldn't even talk about reparations. He wouldn't even approve the anti-lynching laws. He didn't do anything because he was too scared of anti-white sentiment during the time. And
was he scared
now Donald Trump is just blatantly doing anything that conservative white men want him to do.
So let me ask a question though. Was he scared or was he handicapped?
He said that, well, I guess, okay.
Do you have the house?
But he did say that it was because he saw, the effects of anti-white sentiment during the time.
Now, I will agree with that, right? Every time.
You can't be handicapped because that's what I'm saying. Trump is showing us that as president, you don't have to listen to anybody.
Yeah, but that's
I feel like he's in a league by himself,
you don't have to
though.
listen to
Right.
anybody.
Yeah. I think Barack's hands were tied with a lot of things.
Think about history, right? Frederick Douglass.
Yeah.
What came after Frederick Douglass?
This is the pop quiz. I don't know.
Hate came. Martin Luther King.
Okay.
What happened after Martin Luther King? White hate. We got mass incarceration.
Yeah.
What I think is, and I'm only speaking on what I think because I never spoke to Barack Obama. He is now the president of the free world. is it going to be more detrimental to my people if I go up here and I'm the black president or if I'm a president? That's what I think he was dealing with.
I get that.
And for a lot of
Especially
people,
being the first.
Yeah.
right? For a lot of people who don't have empathy for people or understand the power that comes with that, they just be like, he's supposed to be our president. He's supposed to do this. He's supposed to do that. But they don't understand history. Every time we had someone stand up publicly for us, they came down harder on our people. And that's why Sojourner Truth and freaking Harriet Tubman created things like the Underground Railroad. We don't have to exclaim anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that. But like when America was just the 13 colonies that was ruled by the British and the French, the people that founded America, that was their whole thing. They had to stand up and they came down on harder every time and then until they had to go to war. And I feel like black people, we're only willing to go so far. You know what I'm saying? Like if we get somebody in the presidential seat, that person has to be willing to put themselves on the line, I feel like, for black people, or else we're never going to get there.
I disagree with that.
Yeah.
I feel like if he goes in there and puts himself on the line for black people, he gonna be finished and black people gonna be finished.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
It could happen that way.
Yeah, that's my opinion. I just think that it's unfair to put that all on him. I feel like we have learned though that even if we have a black president, we never gonna be the priority. That's why I said I don't give a fuck who the president is.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, yo, let them do what they do at that level. And because my biggest focus is what I deal with every single day, right? I go from here to my kid's school. I go from here to the studio. I go from here to the airport, right? And then I'm building. So I got to make sure everything around these areas is good, right? We went to those local meetings for the Democrats earlier because we wanted to know who our local government was.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my biggest thing is, okay, the president can do whatever he wants. I want to know who my alderman is, city council.
Those are the most
I want to know those people.
Those are the most important people to know. And that's the problem in our community. We don't know those people. We don't do mid-season polls or all those polls. We don't participate in it. And then when it's time, we start complaining. Also, Obama only was the president while they had the House. His hands were tied.
Facts.
Literally.
Facts.
Yeah.
I mean, when he first got
Congress.
in, I think we had the House and then we didn't vote. And then they got the House. So
Democrats had the House and the Senate?
I believe when Obama first got in, we had the House. Because I don't remember, you can look it up, but I remember people saying that once we won the presidency, black people stopped voting and we lost control. That's what I kept hearing. And they said the last 6 years of Obama's presidency, he really couldn't do much because they were in control. Everything was red at that point.
Yeah, I don't think anything was getting passed.
And then he got Obamacare passed, which they're quickly rolling back now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they just want to undo anything that he's done.
Yeah. And I do think racism is a distraction from everything else, because I did also see a video of white people, immigrants in California that were upset because they're losing their Medicaid.
Yeah.
A dude on oxygen who voted for Trump is out there now upset because he's going to lose his health care and he can't afford that damn oxygen without it. So I think I do think that it is a class issue. I think that's
it's a class
what
issue.
Racism always distracts people from the fact that they're poor and they don't have any power either. If you are not in the top 1%, you don't have shit.
You don't.
And so you should be on the same side, because right now there's somebody who is, the president has to be US born, and his closest advisor right now is Elon Musk.
Not elected.
You know what I'm saying? He's
His
not
closest
elected.
advisor is not elected. Let's remember that.
And Elon is doing the same thing in Germany with their
Yes.
government that he's doing here. He's using his billions to pretty much create an oligarchy in all of these places so that he can have control to do whatever he wants to do, which is make more trillions. That's all he ever wants to do.
Yep.
So I got it here. 09 to 11, Democrats had the House and the Senate. So the first 2 years.
The first 2
And then
years.
it flipped from there on out.
So that's what happened the first 2 years, and then the
Then
last
his
6.
final 2 years, Republicans had it, both.
Oh, well, that makes
It
sense.
was split for 4 years, and then for the last 2, they had it.
One thing I want to say before we take a break, because we will have to take a break.
Yeah.
I want people to realize this. Black people have never been the priority, right, in this country. But also black people haven't been a priority to take down, because they don't even care enough about us to try to take us down. That's why we need to be more quiet, right? The whole DEI thing, a lot of black people got upset. So they rolling back on DEI programs, but what they don't realize, the people who benefited the most was white women.
Yep.
So them rolling back DEI programs isn't going to affect us directly. Is it fucked up? Yeah, it's fucked up. But it doesn't directly affect us the way we think it will.
Right.
And that's how sometimes we got to get out of our emotions and be like, okay, I see y'all. I see what y'all doing. Let me, you know what I'm saying? That's where I think, that's where I am with it.
Yeah.
I'm not even focused on the other bullshit.
Yeah. The more you know. All right, y'all, let's take a quick break and we're going to get back with our listener letter of the day.
Well, it's come out. By the time y'all see this, if we don't have a TikTok page, it's because Tribble didn't do her job.
Damn, that's fucked up because they be really on my ass too. Every time you say something about me doing my job, people be in my DMs like, you gonna get fired, Tribble.
Remember the last time I tried to argue with you?
Me and Josh have known each other too long to be arguing about business. Remember the Entourage pictures shoot?
Now that's one thing I won't argue about. If I know I'm wrong, I'm just like, yeah, you got it, bro.
You literally said.
All right, and we're back. Let's dive into Listen Letter and see what y'all talking about this week, okay? I met my boyfriend back in undergrad at Delaware State University. He's from Fort Lauderdale, born and raised, while I'm originally from up north. After college, I found myself moving to Fort Lauderdale, not technically for him, partially because I got into a master's program in Miami, but let's be honest, it was mostly for him. That sounds like me and Hofstra. Yeah. It was like it worked out. It was the divine intervention. Fast forward to now, we're living together. He's a teacher with big dreams of becoming a principal, and I'm 100% his biggest cheerleader. On top of that, he started a referee assignment business that he's determined to grow here in Florida. But here's where things get spicy. We love a little spice. I recently gave him an ultimatum. I told him that when I graduate with my doctorate, it's time for him to put a ring on it or I'm out of there. I have big plans for my future and I don't want to put my goals on hold. I intend to become a motivational speaker and a professor at an HBCU back home near Jersey. So I'm curious, what's your take on this? Is it too much pressure? Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. What happened?
You already know how I feel about this. I like when people say what they need and what they want and what they require. I hate ultimatums because I feel like it's unfair. Like ultimatums is this your way or the highway. And if this is supposed to be a team, how about you tell me what you want and let's see if we can work out a way to get what you want while getting what I want.
Right.
But when it's the ultimatum, put a ring on it after this or I'm done, it's kind of like, wait a minute. So now I have to live on your timeline.
Yeah.
That throws me off.
I wonder if this person listened to, I think we had done an episode about this where or at least when we explained when we were in a similar situation. So DeVal was playing in Detroit at the time. And I was finished grad school, moved to Detroit to be with you because I know you needed the company and the support.
I needed it.
You needed it while you were there. And then it was me trying to figure out, okay, what's next? And I think in hindsight, once I really like hashed out what my apprehension was at the time, it was that I couldn't just be stagnant while you were building essentially like your NFL career and I was just there.
Right.
You know, so when you felt like I gave you an ultimatum where I told you like, listen, either we're going to be like committed to this future or I'm going to go back to New York and try to find a job. I realize now that it was me just not wanting to just be stagnant and just sit there waiting for you. It was me feeling like I needed to do something. I felt like I had my parents watching me from a distance, like you up and moved from New York to Detroit, you know, to be with your boyfriend. But it's like, what are you doing for yourself? So for you, hun, I think my biggest I
think how she gives that message is important. Because the way you said it just now wasn't the way you said it. Remember, you said to me, I'm going back to New York. I'm not trying to be your living girlfriend.
Right.
Like, think about you say that to somebody. The delivery. And
words have power.
Words have power.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like for a lot of people in this situation, because we've had a couple men that be like, I'm ready for and she don't want to do this. It's like, yo, don't give people ultimatums.
Right.
Tell them what your plan is.
Right.
Tell them you have timetables.
How
Tell
you
them
feel.
This is what you want and what you need.
Absolutely.
If that person values you and your company, they'll find a way to make it work for both of y'all. If they don't, they're going to be like, all right, well, if that's what you want, then do what you got to do. And then from there, you know.
Because she did say he's from Fort Lauderdale. She got into a program in Miami, maybe on purpose to be with him, maybe not. But then at the end of this, she says she wants to eventually be a motivational speaker and be up at a HBCU in Jersey. Does he plan to leave Florida to go back up to Jersey? Like, is that even in the cards for him? Or is he assuming that, well, you came to Florida to be here with me, so maybe we'll build a life in Florida? Like, these are just open conversations that need to be had with your full intentions laid out on the table.
I have a question.
For sure.
If she's gonna be a motivational speaker and she plans on being good, how come she can't motivate this man to put a ring on it?
Got it. Inquiring minds want to know.
I'm fucking with you. That's two different types of motivation.
That's a whole different kind of motivation.
You cannot motivate anybody to want to be married. They got to want that on their own.
And DeVal has said, and I've heard this from several men.
I'm pretty sure
Josh and Matt included.
Pretty sure I have.
Men have a timeline.
Yes.
Men have a plan.
Yes.
If his intention is to be with you long term and to marry you,
Yes.
chances are he's already thinking about that and he's already putting the wheels in motion.
Let's confirm.
And making the plans.
Did you have a plan?
Yep.
Josh, did you have a plan? When you were with Anika?
To propose and eventually build a life with her?
Did you foresee like this is going to be my wife and I got a plan and I want to do it?
Yeah, at 26, yeah.
See? So these is 3 different men who all said they had a plan.
Yeah.
And if the woman at that time would have been like, well, it happened at 23 or I'm out, she'd have blocked her blessing. Like that's just a fact.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's just a fact. So.
Yeah. Did you have a plan at the time?
I
don't know
always
if I ever
had a
mentioned
plan.
that.
I had a plan.
Who am I asking? You always
Think
have
about
a plan.
it. When
You're right.
the first date, I told you that I wanted to go to the NFL, be on the practice squad, get $100,000 so we could buy a brownstone and we can live downstairs.
Yeah.
And you said, how we gonna do it?
Yeah.
And I told you the plan.
I know.
And that was and you were included in my plan.
I was included in the plan.
That was the first
Was I
date?
delusional? That was the
very
first date.
date.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, he said it,
date.
but what in me
First date.
after the first date and at that age felt like I really wanted to put my trust into this
Crazy.
man?
I don't know. Because 2 weeks later, you told me you love me, and I don't think this girl's fucking nuts. So you had a plan too, though.
Guys.
You had a plan. You seen it.
Delulu.
I did.
You was
Right.
Delulu.
Delulu is
I was,
indeed
yo.
the Salulu.
I was Delulu before Delulu was a thing.
Wow.
Everything we've done in our relationship would be considered red flags in this day and age. If you
and
think about it.
so unconventional.
Like you telling me you love me in 2 weeks, red flag. Me telling you my whole plan for my life, red flag.
And me signing up for that ride, red flag.
You including yourself in my plan when I told you, red flag. The people say that all the time.
What we doing? What you talking about? What we doing?
It's only a red flag if you don't like.
Facts. But people say in relationships, if you're a single woman, you don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're
That's
a single
true.
man, you
Not
don't
on
treat
like a
this
first
woman.
or second encounter.
You wanted to marry a nigga since you was in 3rd grade, so
I guess I did. You know what, Josh? You might be right. Maybe I just had asked for you early on, and I just felt something early on.
No,
like who knows?
It's just what we always tell people: listen to yourself, listen to your spouse, and listen to God. Nobody else can tell you what your plan is for life. Can't nobody here tell me what my plan was for you. My father and my mother couldn't. They told me that I was moving too fast. Your mother told you was moving too fast. Only person who never told you anything was your father. Because your father was like, you guys do what you guys do.
Yeah. I think my father, that's so him.
But I swear that's what he told. Did y'all ever tell y'all how I spoke to her parents? Yo, this is a true story. It's only going to be 30 seconds. Sit her mom and dad down and said, listen, man, I want to get married to Kadeen. I love her. And I want to make her my wife. Your father said, well, you guys do what you guys does do. I think we should have a drink. Oh, he said, fine by me. I think we should have a drink. And her mother said, Murray, you just give your daughter away, your first daughter, you give away, you don't have what's your plan? Do you have a plan? And what's going on? And I was like, actually, I do have a plan. And then your father said, oh, we could go over this over a drink.
That's the plan. Dude,
he took me downstairs. Her mother was pissed.
Pissed, bro.
He took me downstairs, never asked about the plan.
Never. But then if you let my mother tell the story, your father used to keep me up at night. How did Kadeen get up and move all the way over to Michigan? And like, first of all, it's Michigan, Mom. It's not like the CH. I know how y'all Jamaicans do, but it's Michigan.
Oh my God.
He just pick up and move to Michigan, and how I'm gonna explain that to your grandmother. And I'm just like, yeah, that's so typical of my parents. But I mean,
your father does do that though.
He does.
Her father will act like everything is okay, and then when we all leave, be on her mother about something. How you gonna let this happen? How you gonna let this happen? And she's like, Murray, you were sitting right there. You could ask these questions yourself, but you chose to have a drink and go downstairs and drink, and it's all about the drinks. And I just be like, I just want to marry your daughter. Like, why we gotta do this?
I mean, if I was delusional at that age, then you probably were just as delusional too.
I'm delusional now.
True.
I've been delusional. When I first saw you, no lie, I was like, damn.
Ew.
But
sorry to cut you off. Aren't most dreams that you aspire to like really big dreams and stuff? You got to have a little bit of delusion to even
A lot of delusion.
A lot of delusion and insanity.
Delulu is a good thing.
I don't think it's delusion. Everybody here believe in God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or a higher being, right?
Yes.
God, I think, exists to give you the visions of where you're supposed to be in life. You listen to God, he tells you your journey.
Because ultimately as well, yeah.
But ultimately, he gave you the vision of what it was for you. He didn't give it to me. So when you say you love me, it's because somebody made it clear to you, like, this is where I'm supposed to be. The same way when I told you my plan for my life, God gave me that vision for me to say, this is what I'm going to do. Most people to that point was just like, you're not going to that. TV, you're not doing that. And this woman right here said, so how we going to do it? And in my mind, I was like, what made her think that I was capable of doing this?
Right.
But the fact that you believed in me made me be like, nah, this is the one.
It might be because I also wanted to be on TV and do those things and haven't been, a pageant girl
God
on stage,
gave me
all
visions
that.
about you.
I was
ask Matt. I told Matt the visions God gave me about you over 10 years ago. I was like, my wife's going to do this. My wife is going to do this. I'm going to do this. Watch this. And hasn't it all come to pass?
So said, so done.
And it's not because I'm a brilliant genius.
Oh, you got gold moat.
God gave me the vision. You're so stupid. God gave me the vision and said, just follow. Follow the stuff. Look. Come on. Don't play with me.
And here, guys, is why I go home to my house.
The microphone with you.
You can always share my mic.
The sweetest. Well, be sure to follow us on Patreon. No,
Look, she's trying to get out of here, y'all.
If you want to be featured as a listener letter, be sure to email us at theellisadvice@gmail.com. That is...
You better get off my lap, because this can turn into an OnlyFans.
Is it safe?
Real quick. We got about 7 cameras in here.
Is it safe?
You know Josh don't got no soul. He put this shit out in the heartbeat. It be on Patreon tomorrow.
And we trying to hit them digits, man.
Give him the email address.
I love you, okay? I love you. But nah, the Ellison's advice, that's TheEllisadvice @gmail.com. Josh, how we doing on time? Let's go. Come on. Okay, come on. Like, you taking mad long.
I'm ready. I just checked my email.
You're not ready if you're not here.
Any flyaways?
Yes, you're ready.
Okay. You like the straight hair?
I love the show.
Thank you. Okay, beard in.
All of it.
Line up sharp. You look great. Oh, let me put your chain. Okay, perfect.
My bad, Josh.
Yep. All right. Ready?
You good?
Camera guys. Smiling.
Okay, what we got to do?
You already did it.
What?
You already did it. Perfect.
We already did it. That's a wrap then.
All right, y'all, moment of truth. We're talking about surviving Trump, surviving the presidency, surviving the next 4 years of our lives.
In the next 4
feeling,
years,
baby?
my moment of truth is next 4 years, educate yourself on the history, world history, so you can learn how to navigate. Nothing's too much. It's not too overwhelming. Educate yourself and learn how to navigate.
My moment of truth kind of spirals off of that. Each one teach one. If you know one,
that was mine.
If you know, come on.
Love it.
Very simple. If you know better, you do better. You know some information that could potentially change the mindset of someone because it's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Then use the opportunity to do that. And learn your line dances. Because I'm coming for y'all. Okay? Yeehaw.
I'm not learning no line dances.
Each one teach one, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, my moment of truth.
Here comes something wildly profound. Go ahead.
Nah,
tell them.
I see it, right?
I see the wheels turning.
For the next
Abomatomically. No, go ahead. Shout out Wu-Tang.
Nah, for the next 4 years, just put your head down. Don't watch the news. Don't get sensationalized. Just make sure you're taking care of yourself and your loved ones, man. Because reality is that this country doesn't even care about itself. The country cares more about the people. The people in power care about themselves and the next person who looks like them. So, put your head down and just do what you got to do.
That's profound.
I don't even know if they care about the other person that looks like them.
They don't.
They care about their bottom line.
Yeah. They care about
the fact of the matter.
Themselves.
This is a capitalist country, and we cannot forget that money. What does CREAM stand for?
Cash rules everything around me.
Cream get the money.
Dollar bill, y'all. There you go. America
on,
runs on
karaoke.
cream.
I love it.
Cream.
Enter the woo instead. Get out of these states.
New York ass podcast.
My moment of truth is y'all need to go ahead and put that video on OnlyFans.
Period.
It's a whole audience of people out there that's waiting to pay their $10.99.
Tapped fountain.
No, it's definitely
of
been
wealth.
tapped. It's definitely been tapped. Plenty of time. You feel me?
And it's overfloweth, okay? Okay, period. Be sure to find us on OnlyFans. I'm just kidding. Be sure to find us on Patreon.
Yo, we are terrible. This is terrible. This is terrible.
Like a mechanical bull. Find us on Patreon, y'all, because it goes down there. Okay. Good times on the after show, exclusive Ellis Ever After content, more family content from the Ellises. And you can find us on social media at Ellis. I'm trying so hard to be normal.
Professional, right?
Professional. And you can find us on
don't sit on my lap.
Instagram.
You can't be normal after you sat on my lap. I see you blushing. It's all right.
Yeah, y'all can find me on Instagram at @_mad.ellis because we got to get out of here.
Ellis Ever After. I'm Kadeen. I am.
And I am DeVal. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. And as always, we love to say,
baby,
Deadass,
yeah.
Cut!
Ellis Ever After is an iHeartMedia podcast. It's hosted by Kadeen and DeVal Ellis. It's produced by Tribble. Video production by Joshua Duane and Matthew Ellis. Video editing by LaShawn Rowe.